In our last video, we revealed the 6 disturbing signs evil people always show. And the comments made one thing clear. Many of you weren't just watching out of curiosity. You were watching because you recognized those signs in people close to you. Family, friends, even coworkers. And that realization hit hard. It's one thing to spot evil. It's another to live around it. When someone who claims they love you starts to manipulate you, when you feel emotionally exhausted after every conversation, and when the people who should protect your peace become the ones disturbing it. So this video isn't about identifying the signs anymore. This is about action. What do you do when the people you once trusted turn cold? How do you protect your soul from manipulation, betrayal, and emotional sabotage? And most importantly, how do you stay grounded in a world that wants to knock you off center? If you're here to gain the clarity to deal with those toxic forces in your life, hit subscribe. Because this channel, Stoic Clarity, is where we turn betrayal into wisdom, where you come to grow stronger, calmer, and wiser. And make sure to stay until the very end, because the final tip we're going to share will change the way you deal with these people forever. Let's begin. The first point is to set boundaries without guilt. Protecting your peace is not cruelty. Let's start with the one thing most people fail to do, and pay the highest price for later: setting boundaries. When you deal with toxic people, especially those who are close to you, your silence becomes their permission. Your kindness becomes their playground, and your peace, it becomes the first thing they attack. But here's the truth you need to accept right now. Protecting your peace is not cruelty. It's survival. It's the least you can do for yourself. Most people are conditioned to endure, to tolerate, to absorb other people's dysfunction in the name of loyalty, tradition, or family. And before you know it, you're drained. You're walking on eggshells, you're shrinking in rooms you used to feel comfortable in. Listen closely. It is not your job to keep the peace by sacrificing your own. The moment you start setting boundaries, when you stop responding to manipulation, when you refuse to entertain drama, when you say no without over-explaining, people will push back. They'll call you cold, distant, even selfish. Let them. Because the people who guilt trip you for having boundaries were benefiting from your lack of them. You don't owe anyone access to your mental space, not your coworker who thrives on gossip, not your friend who only calls when they need something, not even a family member who uses love as leverage. You owe yourself clarity, stillness, a life free from emotional chaos. So set that boundary, say less, show less, withdraw from what no longer feeds your spirit. Because when you stop making yourself available to toxicity, you finally become available to growth. And if this resonates with you, hit that like button and subscribe to Stoic Clarity, where your peace isn't just protected, it's prioritized. Let's move forward. Number 2, master the art of non-reaction. Never take their bait. I'll demonstrate this with a story. A few years ago, a man named Marcus worked in a mid-sized company, quiet and respected by most. But there was one colleague, Dan, who couldn't stand him. Dan was loud, always fishing for attention, and he hated that Marcus didn't play his game. One day, in a team meeting, Dan made a passive-aggressive comment. Well, if Marcus spoke more often instead of always working, maybe we'd be better off. Everyone looked at Marcus, expecting him to fire back. But Marcus didn't flinch. He stayed calm, didn't smile, didn't retaliate. He simply focused on the project notes and continued as if nothing had happened. That was it. After the meeting, the team lead approached Marcus and said, "The way you handled that, impressive. That guy's always stirring the pot. You just showed me who's the real leader here." 2 weeks later, when a leadership role opened up, it didn't go to Dan, it went to Marcus. That's the quiet power of non-reaction. You see, toxic people thrive off one thing: your reaction. They don't want resolution, they want a response. a weakness to expose, a door to control you. When you shout, they feel in control. When you break down, they feel victorious. But when you don't take the bait, they lose. And it's not just in ancient Stoic history. This plays out today. A friend throws subtle jabs, a sibling insults you, a colleague questions your competence in front of everyone. It's tempting to clap back, to set the record straight. But here's the truth. Silence is a weapon, if you learn how to use it. Not passive silence and not fearful silence, but calculated, composed and grounded silence. Every time you don't react, you send a message. You don't control me. And that message, that stillness, is louder than any argument. So the next time someone pokes at your ego, ask yourself, are they worth your peace? Or are they just a test of it? Mastering non-reaction doesn't make you weak. It makes you unshakable. And that's when you become truly dangerous. 3. Master the broken record technique. Calm, repeated strength. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is the same thing, over and over, calmly, without flinching. That's the broken record technique. And when done right, it's one of the most powerful tools in your arsenal for dealing with manipulative people. Here's how it works. When someone tries to twist your words, guilt trip you, or pressure you into changing your stance, instead of arguing or explaining, you calmly repeat your boundary or your decision. Not emotionally, not with frustration, just like a broken record. Let's say a friend keeps trying to rope you into something that doesn't align with your values. Maybe it's a toxic situation you've walked away from. They say, "Come on, man, don't be like that. We've always done this." You reply, "I'm not doing that anymore." They keep pushing. "You think you're better than us now?" You stay calm. "I'm not doing that anymore." No insults, no defenses, just clarity and calm repetition. It might feel awkward at first, but it works because what manipulative people feed on is emotional energy. They want you defensive, agitated, flustered, because that's when they can pull you back in. But when you repeat yourself calmly, you disarm them. You show that your boundary isn't up for debate. You're not trying to prove yourself. You've decided, and that's that. The broken record technique is a form of psychological jujitsu. You don't attack, you don't retreat. You simply stand your ground over and over until the other person realizes they have no more moves to make. This is how you train people to respect your energy, because the man who doesn't waver in his truth becomes unshakable. And if you're still watching, here's your reminder. Stay until the end, because the final point we're going to share in this video might just shift the way you deal with difficult people forever. 4. Prioritize self-care. You can't pour from an empty cup. One of the greatest traps strong men fall into is thinking they have to be strong for everyone else except themselves. You take the calls. You show up when it's inconvenient. You keep absorbing the emotional chaos of friends, family, co-workers, because you think that's what a good man does. But here's the truth, no one tells you. If you don't prioritize your own mental, emotional, and physical health, you will break. And the worst part, the very people who drained you will call you selfish when you finally draw the line. Let me tell you about James, a man I once coached. He was the rock of his family. When his brother spiraled into addiction, James was there. When his mum lost her job, James paid her rent. When his friend needed a car, James co-signed the loan. But behind the curtain, James was burning out. No one asked how he was doing. No one offered help. He started having anxiety attacks. He stopped sleeping. His work suffered. His relationship fell apart. And when he finally said, "I need a break," his family called him cold. But James did something powerful. He didn't argue. He didn't defend himself. He simply took 2 months for himself. Therapy, rest, gym, meditation. He unplugged from the chaos and reconnected with who he was. When he came back, something had shifted. He wasn't bitter, he wasn't resentful, he was clear, calm, grounded. And suddenly everyone started treating him differently. It's not because he demanded respect, but because he embodied it. This is the power of unapologetic self-care. And don't get it twisted, this isn't about massages and vacations. This is about protecting your energy, saying no when it's needed, and making time for silence, discipline, and healing. Because when you take care of yourself deeply, you stop showing up out of obligation and start showing up from strength. Take this seriously, not just for you, but for everyone who depends on you, because the man who masters himself becomes the safest place in the room. And if you've resonated with any of this so far, subscribe and like the video. Here at Stoic Clarity, we don't just talk healing, we live it. Stick around. The final point coming up might just change how you deal with manipulators forever. This is the final point. You have to build a support system that keeps you grounded. There's a common belief among men that strength means solitude, that real toughness is handling everything alone, in silence. But even the strongest minds need grounding. After dealing with toxic people, manipulators, gaslighters, those who twist your words or make you question your sanity, you can start to forget who you are. That's when isolation becomes dangerous. That's why you need a support system that grounds you, not a crowd, not noise, but a circle of clarity. A few people, maybe just one, who reflect back the truth when you lose sight of it. People who don't feed drama but help you rise above it. Who hold you accountable, but also hold space when you're struggling. You need a grounding presence, someone you can talk to without wearing armor. Whether it's a therapist, mentor, close friend, or wise brother, surround yourself with voices that calm you, not confuse you. Because when manipulation shakes your reality, your support system brings you back. Here's a story to remember. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic emperors, often faced betrayal, political manipulation, and even treachery from those closest to him. But he surrounded himself with teachers, philosophers, and generals he deeply respected, men who challenged him, reminded him who he was, and grounded his perspective, even when the world around him spun in chaos. You don't need to be an emperor, but you do need your circle, not a crowd that claps, but a council that anchors you during hard times. If this hit home, subscribe to Stoic Clarity. Comment below which point hit you hardest. And if you missed our last video, evil people always show these 6 disturbing signs. Watch it next. Because awareness is the first step, and this video was your second. Let's live it wisely, powerfully, and unshakably.